Hello and welcome back to the basics. Today we're going to be building a sharpening system that you can use on all your knives, axes, and anything else that you need sharpened for that matter. We'll be showing you how that you can use a few common materials to put together a sharpening system that sharpens something down to 2000 grit. We'll be putting it together today by the use of these 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch by 2 foot strips. These happen to be poplar, but you could use pine or anything else for that matter. You'll need 2 of these that are 2 feet long. They cost about $2 a piece at Lowe's or Home Depot. You'll be cutting them today, and you'll be cutting 4 of them. That's why you need 2 of them. These are 8 inches long, but you'll be cutting them, and we will be attaching sandpaper, wet dry sandpaper, in grits of 120, 220, 400 and 600, 800 and 1200. And then you'll have one that has 2000 grit on one side, and the other side is going to be a piece of just leather that you have laying around. Stay with me. We'll get started. I'll get you set up here about how we're going to get this thing built. Okay. I give you a wrong measurement when we started off today, and I told you these were 8 inches a piece, but they're actually 8 3/4 inch a piece. Definitely 2 is enough still, but let's go ahead and lay these out to our 8 3/4 inch today. Measuring this up right quick. Marking our line down here at the bottom. Use a little square here. Make sure we got our line straight across, even though we are going to use our miter box here. Get this put in our miter box. Get it lined up. And get this cut. All right, stick with me. I'll get the rest of these cut, and then we'll go on to the next step. Now that we've got our pieces cut, we need to make sure that we label these so that we know which sandpaper goes where when we start to spray the adhesive on and put the sandpaper on each one of them. So our numbering list, we'll just go ahead and number this one. I'm using just a permanent felt tip marker, and I'll draw some arrows going up to know that that's the one I'm talking about on there, and to know that this first one is going to be 120 grit. I'll put 120 on there. Draw my arrows on there so it'll look something like this. And then I'll flip it over, and our 220, put our arrows going up again. Put 220 on the other side of this 120. Another little arrow after that. And then it's ready for the next step. I'll go ahead and I will number all these, and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, we're going to be using some spray adhesive today. Regardless of which spray adhesive you use, make sure you look at your directions on the back, follow to make sure that you're not going to get hurt in any manner. Make sure that you know exactly how far from your piece of material that you're supposed to be when you spray it, and follow any other directions, like make sure this is well shaken up before you try to use it. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems with it. We're going to put some spray adhesive down on this paper here now. Now we'll just make sure that we got a surface there. We don't, care what happens to, put some paper down or something so we don't get adhesive all over everything. You don't need much of this, just a little bitty light coating on it, and all the way across, just a little light coating. And now, you're going to want to wait a few minutes. You're going to want to wait until you can touch this and it's tacky. Your finger starts touching to it. Right now, it's not that way. It's going to feel wet for just a few minutes. We're going to keep touching it. And when it starts to get super tacky on us, then we're going to look and see which one. I put the 220 upside up first. We've cut our sandpaper, all the different grits, into strips that are 1.5 inches wide. And the reason that our board is cut to the dimension that it's been cut in today is because that is the width of this paper. So you're going to be able to get several of them from one piece of this sandpaper. I get this sandpaper at my local automotive paint store. They have all the grits that you may want. I think mine starts at 40 grit and goes all the way up. I believe they carry 3,000 grit sandpaper. But I only use these 5 grits in a piece of leather, and we'll continue to do this today, and I'll show you what this is. But here's my 220. Let's go ahead and put that down. We'll start by putting it all the way to the end down here. Slowly following it and letting it go down all the way till we get to the end. Push on it real good to make sure there's no air bubbles in it nowhere, nothing. Especially on the ends. And there we go. We have one. Before you use this now, make sure that you let them dry for a few hours before you attempt to use it. So all you need to do now is turn it over, do the other side, and you'll have one of these ready to go. Let's go ahead and do that now. We'll go ahead and just lay that thing back down here. Spray our adhesive again. Remember, not too much, but you want to get enough on there that you coat it all. And then we're going to wait again. It's going to be a few minutes before we can put this down. I'll go ahead. I'll let this dry up. I'll put the other side on. I'm going to finish up the rest of these, and then let's come back and take a look at them when I'm done. Well, here we have all our pieces. It's all been glued up. Up in that last one, remember that last one, it's got a piece of leather on it. This piece of leather could come from anything. It could come from the inside piece of an old boot that you may have lying around that's really not much use for anything else anymore. It could be from a belt that you have that's about worn out, or it could be just a piece of old leather that you have from another project that you had going on. This sharpening system, you can sharpen anything that you have, any knife, an axe, a hoe, shovel, edge, whatever you want with this system. Today I've got my Mora out here, and I'm going to show you how I sharpen my knife. Now, this is not going to be how everybody sharpens their stuff. I'm going to tell you how I use to sharpen using this system and how it works best for me. You may not disagree with me. You may have a different way of doing it. This is the way I'm going to show you how I do it, and I'm going to show you how sharp that this knife can get with just a few minutes of using this system. First of all, I told you that these papers wet and dry, and it is, for the exception of this 120. We can't hardly find 120 wet and dry around here, so this is a normal wet and dry, but I never use 120 on any of my knives. Matter of fact, I don't even use it on the axis mostly. This would be used in a worst case scenario when you got something bad that's happened to your axe or a bigger tool like that, and it would not be used for knife sharpening anyway. Matter of fact, unless you've got a super bad problem with your knife and that needs sharpening, you're just tooling it up from normal, normal wear and tear, that you should keep up with your knife anyway, so it shouldn't be bad. I usually just start off with about 400 and work my way up from there. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take my knife, and I always use this method. I take black magic marker, and I'm going to run the edge of my knife all the way up, all the way down. I'll do that on both sides, just like so. Now, I'm not a professional knife sharpener, knife maker, knife builder, none of that. So, I need to find my angle just like everybody else. To do that, I put magic marker on it so I can see it, and then I know that when my tool's in the right spot and I continue to use it in that manner, I know that I'm sharpening my blade correctly. So I put the black magic marker on the blade just like that. And now, except for this one, which we're not going to use, the 220 today, we're not going to use it at all. I'll set it aside. Squirt bottle with nothing but water in it, set on a very, very, very fine mist. We're going to start with this 400, so I'm going to just take, I usually keep a little rag out here. I'm going to take, and I'm going to just spray a little bit of water on this, just like that. Run my finger over it till it's all over the entire surface, like so. Leave that rag there. Now I'm going to hold my knife in this hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use my paddle in this other hand. And I'm going to take the paddle, and I am not going to run in this direction on the knife blade. I'm not going to go up it. I find that I can sharpen my knives a whole lot sharper if I go the other way. And it seems to work the best and hold the best edge for me in everything that I do. So I take my paddle, I run it, and I pull it across just like this, and I look, and I can see that I'm already about to start to hit my edge like the way it's supposed to be. Keep that edge, and I'm going to run about 10 strips this way, and each time I'm looking to see that I'm getting in the right spot, and I am. See, I'm already taking most of that magic marker off, so I'm already getting the right angle. Now, this is one solid motion. I'm going all the way from the bottom of the knife, back blade, and I'm going all the way up the tip and coming off every single time. So all the way up and off, all the way up and off. Now 10 strokes, switching to the other side. This is a little bit different motion, but still in the same direction. We're going to start out at the bottom and work that way up. And look there, I almost took all of it off that time anyway. We're going to do about the same amount, about 10 strokes this way. And we're going to keep working that. We're going to make sure that we keep that same bevel all the time, because that's what we want. We want to make sure that our knife is being sharpened correctly at the correct bevel. And it will be if you're taking all this magic marker off, as it looks like I am here. All right, I ain't been counting, but I think that's about right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it back over. The next time I do this, I'm going to pull 5 strokes this time. 5 strokes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When I turn it back over, that's what I'm going to do on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next time is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next time is 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 1. Now, on my 1, when I get to 1, I usually do that between 5 and 10 times. And what that does is starts working that little bitty micro bead down to that end. So we're going to continue that. I may do between 5 and 10. Let's do 5. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5. Let me check it. Feel that edge of that blade. See how it's coming up there? Starting to get sharp already. We're going to do a few more times. Let's go 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's check it again. All right, that is sharp already, but just using the 400. Now we're going to switch to the 6. Spread a little water on there like we did last time. Switch that back and forth. Make sure my whole wet dry sandpaper here is got some liquid on it. And we're not going to go and we're not going to start and do 10 strokes like we did last time. We're only going to start with 5 now that we've gotten to the next setup. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 1. Now remember, let's wipe our blade off here for a second. We're going to get some of that particulates off there on our towel. And we're going to check it. Oh man, that is about super sharp already. But we ain't going to stop there because we want this thing to be able to shave the hair right off our arm or anything else for that matter. Swipe it back off one more time. We're going to set that in the side and we're going to go to 800. We're going to do what we did before. We're going to take our squirt bottle here and just run a little bit on it. And run it back and forth here till we got it all over everywhere. Now, folks, using that system, if you tried to use this in reverse and you tried to push this paddle into this knife blade, you'd slice this thing all to pieces and it wouldn't be worth nothing after a few uses. You keep using it like this, and I guarantee your knives will be sharp. You'll be happy with the way it turns out. It goes super fast, and this knife will be sharp enough to shave our arm before you know it. And you just hang in here with me, and I'll show you how it works. All right, 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you may want to, you're new to this, I've been doing this for a while. If you feel like, when you change these paddles over that you need to take your magic marker and you need to run it back up again, do that. Keep your knife bevel going the same way, and that way you'll be making sure that you sharpen it the best you can every single time. All right, back to 4 and 4 and 3 and 3 and 2 and 1 and 1. All right, let's take a look at it now. Let's wipe it off, get them particulates off there, all that. All right, let's feel this thing. Oh man, that thing is getting super sharp. You barely can't touch it now. That feeling that trying to get you a little bit. All right, let's switch back over. We're going to go to our 1200 on this board. Little squirt, little finger rub down it back and forth here. all the way down, all the way up. All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. I need to go ahead and set it aside. Going to 2,000. I don't think we're going to have to do anything else now but our strop side. Now, this strop side, we could leave it alone. We could just leave the leather on there. We don't want no water on it, obviously. Um, uh, However, you could choose, if you want to put some rubbing compound or polishing compound on there. Some people use stuff known as Smurf poo, and you can pretty much get a polishing compound just about anywhere these days. Any place that sells sharpening tools. I have some sharpening compound here. I'm going to put on this new one. Just rub it in. You don't have to go all the way up with it probably, but most of your strop you're going to want to have it on there. I'm going to go all the way down with mine and just try to fill it in here a little bit. In here, this is the rough side, by the way, of the leather, not the smooth side. So you'll want that rough side out. That tends to scrap a whole lot better. Okay, I got some rubbing compound now put on there. Knock a little bit of that dust off there from that. It's got some on my rag here now, but I pretty much charged this in now. Now, you want safety in mind just a little bit here, because you may want to get a little excited. But try to take your time. You're going to want to hold that, but you're still pulling away from it, but you're going to use your hand to control your knife this time. And they're just going to go back and forth on that bladed edge there. And we're going to just work this. We're going to do about, I don't know, 20 strokes or so, and then we're going to stop. We're going to check it out. We're going to wipe our blade off. This tends to gunk up on the blade every once in a while. And just keep that angle. Rub it back and forth. You can see that rubbing compound is kind of making like a slick surface already on our strap here. But back and forth, back and forth. Now, you don't have to be exact here, just as long as you keep going back and forth. Just don't get excited. Don't get so quick here that you run it into your finger or nothing like that. You don't want to hurt yourself. You just keep keeping that angle. Rub it back and forth. See whatever way helps you hold it the best. All right, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to rub my blade off here a little bit. All right. I'm going to feel this dude. Oh man, that thing is super sharp. Let me do a little test here. All right. Let's see if we can't show you how sharp this dude will go now. Last little spot right in here. Look there. You see all that? Look here. And the bald spot right here on my arm. Sorry about the camera work, folks. But I guarantee now that that knife right there will cut whatever you want it to cut. And if you don't think it's sharp enough, work it a little more. Um, and using this system works really well, works really fast, and it'll do you a good job every single time, I promise. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining me today on Back to the Basics. I hope this helps someone out there, maybe someone that's having some trouble sharpening a knife, uh, somebody needing a cheap way instead of buying some Japanese water stones that cost hundreds of dollars a piece. You can get up to a 2,000 grit sandpaper put on a board for about $1 a sheet of sandpaper at your local automotive supply store. And that will last you about 6 or 7 times of changing your paper out on these. These last for a long time, but when one of them wears out or you rip one or you tire one, you just pull the thing off, put you a little bit more adhesive on it, stick a new paper on it, and you're good to go. I've made a little bag to carry mine around in, just made out of some canvas. Drawstring at the top, I throw it in my bag, take it wherever I go. Well, y'all have a good evening. God bless you and have a great day.